The Tabuk Sniper Rifle is an Iraqi semi-automatic designated marksman's rifle, made from a modified version of the Zastava M70 assault rifle, itself a variant of the AKM.The Tabuk Rifle. Like all the AKM and Dragunov SVD derivatives made in Iraq, was manufactured at the Al-Qadissiya Establishments using machinery sold to Iraq by Zastava Arms of Yugoslavia, at a time when power was still firmly in the hands of Saddam Hussein. Background: Zastava Arms of Yugoslavia originally developed this rifle from its experience in making its M70 rifles, particularly the M76. All of the rifles in the M70 series share what is traditionally considered an RPK-style receiver, that is, the receiver is made with a thicker gauge of sheet metal formed over a larger and heavier trunnion. While this does add to weight, it has a positive effect on durability, which is why the modification came about. The Yugoslavian version of the RPK, the Zastava M72, is a longer-barreled member of the M70 family and is the weapon upon which the Tabuk is based. The barrel length of the Iraqi Tabuk rifle is 23.6 inches, slightly longer and thinner than a Yugoslavian M72 barrel, but much longer than a traditional AKM. The M70, the Tabuk, like the M72, has a provision for muzzle attachments in the typical Russian thread pattern of 14 times 1 mm left-hand thread, which means that it can accept several variations of Soviet flash hiders and muzzle brakes, as well as Soviet-designed sound suppression devices. Design details: the differences between the Tabuk and the Yugoslavian M72 are few. The semi-auto-only mechanism of the Tabuk is not a visually obvious difference, but is perhaps the most important. This feature dictates the rifle's role as one of precision fire and not suppressive fire. It is also important as it prevents poorly trained individuals from subjecting the barrel of a rifle intended for precision to full auto-fire, which would shorten that rifle's useful life. A more visible difference is the much lighter barrel fitted to the Tabuk. The M72's barrel is finned at the rear near the handguards and is far heavier than that of the Tabuk. The thickness of the M72's barrel exists to facilitate heat distribution via mass and cooling via surface area. Since the option to fire full auto has been omitted, the Tabuk, like the SVD and the PSL, has a relatively light barrel. The Tabuk differs from the M72 in some other ways. It has provision for mounting optics, though this is not an unusual accessory on Eastern Bloc weapons, and it has a skeletonized buttstock with a cheek piece. A third difference, and perhaps the most important visual cue when identifying the Tabuk, is the conspicuous lack of a bipod. The M72's bipod, which is not detachable from the M72, is quite obvious from afar when attached. It was likely removed from the Tabuk designed to enhance mechanical accuracy and reduce weight, though had it been retained, it might have added useful stability for long-range work. Since it is essentially an accurized, scoped M72, the Tabuk is chambered for the M72's primary caliber, 7.62 x 39. This is advantageous as it allows the Tabuk to use the same magazines as the AKM, and AKM magazines are well made, plentiful, and easy to replace if lost. Because the Tabuk is chambered for the Soviet M43, a 7.62 x 39 mm cartridge, it cannot technically function as a sniper rifle. With a maximum effective range of only 600 meters, the Tabuk should instead be considered a designated marksman's rifle. That said, and considering the urban terrain upon which these rifles are typically fielded, this quibble rifle is purely semantic. The Tabuk is within its given range, every bit as effective as the Dragunov PSL if used precisely. At the far end of its effective range, it is decidedly less lethal than its higher velocity counterparts due to the round's combination of stability and low velocity, giving it less reach than the 7.62 x 54 mm caliber SVD. It visually resembles an RPK, which may make identifying enemy snipers more difficult. Likewise, its acoustic signature mimics that of an AKM. Uses Iraq, main producer and user, used since 1978.